Good morning. Hello. Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me? Oh, good morning. My name is Brook, and I'm from Ethiopia. Let me ask you one thing. Is there any one of you heard about Ethiopia before? Is there anyone? Is this audible? Can they hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Is there anyone who heard about Ethiopia before? You heard? Okay. I'm from Ethiopia. I moved to Korea 2 years ago to study at Jumbuk Taekyo for masters, and I graduated last semester, last month, and currently I'm PhD student in the same school. I'm from Ethiopia. This is the official flag of Ethiopia, and in my presentations today, I want to talk to you about the Ethiopia. The first thing is introduction. I will talk a little bit about the population, the history, and the ethnic diversity, the economy, and the education. Just a little. Okay. For those of you who never heard about Ethiopia, you guys know about the Korean War, right? The Korean War. Yeah, Ethiopia is the only African country to give aid or to give soldiers to Korea. The Kanyo Battalion is the imperials. The king at the time was named King Haile Selassie, and the Kanyo Battalion who were sent to Korea at the time were the personal bodyguard of the emperor at the time. And the emperor sent 600, more than 6,000. Oh. Okay. Oh. The emperor at the time was named King Haile Selassie, and he sent more than 6,000 soldiers to support Korea, South Korea, during the occupation by the North Korea. And out of those 6,000 soldiers, 120 were dead here, and the others were 536 were wounded by the during the war. And to memorize this, Korea has opened a memorial museum in Chuncheon City. And there is Ethiopian culture hub that was built there. There is a coffee shop there too, and there is a big park which was constructed to just to memorize the veterans during the Korean War of the Kanyo Battalion. This was not done for any other countries. There were around 17 countries who were involved in the Korean War, including the American soldiers, the French, and many more other countries. But the Korean government did this only for Ethiopian veterans. They were did so many things for Korea during the war. And the other thing that I want to talk to you about is the general description of Ethiopia. The official name of the country is called the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, and it's found on the eastern part of Africa, as you can see from here. It's a landlocked country, no direct access to any oceans or any other water bodies. And the regional difference, as most of you guys might think, as a country in Africa, most of you guys might think it's really hot in there, right? But the temperature, we do have different kinds of temperature, including the desert areas around the eastern part of the country. We do have the tropical rainforest in the southern part of the country, and we do have most of the terrain in our country is highland dominated, and most of the cities in the country are located between 2,000 to 2,500 meters above sea level, which gives colder temperature than any countries around the equator with similar proximity. The temperature in the most part of the country is around 24 throughout the whole year. Here in Korea, you do have two extreme weathers, right? Like the summer is really hot here, and the winter is really cold. I was suffering between those two things. But in my country, throughout the year, you can live with a t-shirt, like during rainy season and during the dry season. The temperature will be varying between like 15 and 25. So it's really comfortable to live throughout the year. And the population of Ethiopia is around 102 million, the double of the Korean population. The Korean population is around 50 million, I think. And the area is around 1.1 million kilometers square, which is really large country as compared to other countries. And it's ranked like 27th in the world based on its size. And as you may compare this with Korea, Korea is around 100,000 kilometers square. And this, it's like extra million kilometers square. The Korean land is around this part only, like the 100,000 kilometers square, but the Ethiopian land is around 1.1 million kilometers square. It's really big country, and the major cities in Ethiopia are the Addis Ababa, which is the capital city of Ethiopia with a population of around 4.5 million, and the others are the Dire Dawa, Mekele, Gondar, and Bahir Dar. The capital city is found at the center of the country. It's really big country with a population of around 4.5 million, as it was shown here. And the other thing that I want to talk about to you guys is about the history. Ethiopia is believed to be the center of the earliest humans. The fossils, the archaeological findings in the country include the two famous discoveries, the Ardipithecus ramidus with the name RD, dates back like 4.25 million, the fossil found in the country. And the other one is called Lucy with a year of 3.2 million years ago, which gives the credibility to be the most earliest human ancestors was found in Ethiopia. And as you can see here, this is the former president of the United States, Barack Obama, visiting the archaeological finding named Lucy, which is around, as we mentioned here, like 3.2 million years ago. And the other thing is the civilization. One of the earliest form of civilization was called Aksumite civilization. They are known for their long distance trade and their gold coins. This empire was between the 3rd and 4th century. As I was like Googling about Korean earliest forms of civilization. The earliest form of civilization in Korea, I saw that it's on 7th century, the first empire. But this Aksumite empire, which was one of the greatest empire in the world, was between the 3rd and 4th century, which makes the country to be rich in history and earliest forms of civilization. And the other thing is, as most of you guys might think, as a country in Africa, you might think that every countries were colonized. But Ethiopia was the only country in Africa that was never colonized. This is one of the proudest thing that Ethiopians feel for the country. The people of the country, Ethiopia, are so patriotic in defending their country. And there was a war between the European force, the Italy, you know Italy, right? There was a war between the Ethiopia and the Italy in year 1986, which is more than 120 years ago. The Italian force, the European force, came to Africa to colonize Ethiopia as they did to other countries, but the people of Ethiopia defended their country and win the battle just within a day. And this makes Ethiopia to be the only country to survive the European colonial powers. And the other thing that I want to talk to you about is in the history section, the modern Ethiopia. As I was mentioning earlier, the country was named with different name. The current name Ethiopia came lately, like 150 years ago or something. But in the earliest years, the name was different. There was given with different names. The first is the Aksum. It's called Aksumite Empire in the former era. But after that, there was a name called Abyssinia, which is another alternative name in old days for Ethiopia. But the current forms of Ethiopian map, the one I showed you here, this is the Ethiopian map. And it's divided into 9 ethnic-based administration groups or regions. There are 9 ethnic groups, and the current form of Ethiopian map was built by the name Emperor Menelik, whose portrait is shown here, and this is a portrait of his wife. Her name is called Teke Taitu. These are the it was during this king's time that Ethiopia fought the colonial power of the Europeans, which I mentioned earlier, the Italian force. And this is the king who fought with the European force and defeated the colonial powers. And Ethiopia, the current form of Ethiopian map was, or the country was built during his time. This the King Menelik. He reigned between 1989 and between 1930s, and he resisted. He was, as I was mentioning frequently, that he was known for resisting the Italian force in 1986, and also created the current capital city of Ethiopia, which is called Addis Ababa. Addis Ababa means new flower. Addis means new, and Ababa means flower. The city name is to be translated in English as New Flower, and these guys are who built the city. And after this king, the one who took over the power is called King Haile Selassie, who sent the troops to Korea during the Korean War. He was the king during the Korean War in Ethiopia. And after this, the King Haile Selassie, the form of the government that was in Ethiopia is called the communist government, which was led by the Mengistu Haile Mariam, which was a military dictatorship kind of government. But the others before him were ruled by the king and the queen. And currently the modern form of the government is the government structure is the Federal Democratic Republic, and it's kind of the parliamentary system, which is kind of democratic, but the reality is it's one-party rule, or which is authoritarian. There is only one-party dominated system. I don't know what the case is for Korea, but he is the current Prime Minister of Ethiopia. His name is Abiy Ahmed, and he took a power like 3 or 4 months ago. There was instability in the political stuffs in the country, but after he took power, the country is getting settled now. I want to talk to you about something. What do you feel like thinking about Ethiopia or a country in Africa? You might have some picture in your mind, right? I just want to show you some drone footage, a video, just to show you what it looks like in Ethiopia. The video is not edited, like it's general plain video with like some videos might be portrayed like to give something good only. just to present something good. But the drone footage shows you everything like the good and the bad. So, are you okay to? Okay. This is the capital city, Addis Ababa. Oh. Oh. Maybe we need to copy the file to the computer, I think. Sorry guys for the video. Maybe you can see what the capital city of Ethiopia is like this one. This is the normal drone footage. So maybe we can just take a look at this just for a minute or two, and we'll get back with the talk. Is that okay? Yeah. This is the national stadium that you see from there. This is the light rail system in the city. This is the train system that connects the city with different parts of the city. I think the video that you saw earlier will show you just what it looks like in Ethiopia. And the other thing that I want to talk about is the ethnic diversity. Here in Korea, the people are like homogeneous. Koreans are just like the same, like you guys are of the same color, of the same culture, right? But in Ethiopia, there are more than 80 different ethnic groups in Ethiopia, having different cultural styles, like their dressing, their hairstyle, and even the face color. As you can see here, their face color is kind of lighter skin, right? But on the other part of the country, there are people with darker skin too. There are like mediumly like tanned color and different cultures. And just to show you a little bit of the culture, what it looks like in Ethiopia, like the dancing, there are different dancing styles belonging to different ethnic groups. And there are some short videos that I want to show you about the dance moves and the cultural dressing too. These are called the Tigrayan people, maybe. Oh. Oh. As you might think, like the African musics do have a drum beat, right? But in our country, the drum, maybe we need to lower the voice, the sound. These people are called the Tigrayan people, which lives at the northern part of the country. Their cultural dressing is, as you can see here, a white clothes having like colored piece at the edges, and the girls would make their hair braided, half of their hair braided and half of their hair afro. And the cultural dancing is of this kind, but I don't know, the video is not playing well. These are called the Tigrayan people, and there are also other people called the Amhara people, which takes the second largest population of the country. These are called the Amhara people, which takes the second largest population in Ethiopia. And their cultural dancing and their music and their cultural foods and other things are quite different from any other part of the country. But I just want to show you some of the things, but I don't know, the video is not playing well. And these people are known for their heroic action. They are patriotic people defending the country. And their dancing is dominated by the movement of the shoulder and like the whole body, as you can see here. The other people are called the Oromo people, which takes the largest population of the country, around This is called the Oromo people, and their cultural dressing is of this kind. There are different groups of Oromo people, but this is one of the typical Oromo culture, and their dancing is, as you can see from here, their dancing is dominated by the movement of their head in bounds, and the man will be like jumping off the ground, and it's like that. But maybe it would have been better if you saw that from the movie, the video here. Let's go to the other. There are also other people called the Gurage people, which are known for their hard-working culture. They work so hard, and these are called the Gurage people. Their dancing is of this kind. I don't know, it's not that visible here. And the economy of the country is about, the GDP is 195.8 million by the 2017 forecast, and it's one of the fastest growing African nation, which gives the name like the Africa's China. Like China is the fastest growing country in Asia, right? Ethiopia is like the fastest growing country in Africa, with a total GDP of 195.8 billion by the 2017's forecast. And the Ethiopian Airlines is one of the known sector in Ethiopia, which has more than 125 destinations, and is also one of the biggest airliners in Africa, which also take the shares of 4 or 5 other countries by 50%. And in Ethiopia, we produce different kinds of things. You guys know about coffee, right? Coffee is originated from Ethiopia. Coffee is native to Ethiopia, and it's the main export item in the country. And the country economy is dominated by agriculture. More than 70% of the population is depend on agricultural products, and there are also export items, as you can see here. And coffee is one of the dominant type of export item. Coffee, as I was telling you earlier, is originated in Ethiopia. The name that coffee came from, the place that it originated from. The place is called Kaffa. That's how the name coffee came from, the English name or the French café, and other derived name for coffee came from the place in Ethiopia called Kaffa. And the other things that produced in Ethiopia are like the beans, the oil seeds, cereals, and also Ethiopia is also known for animal products. Like the export item from this animal product is the leather, and this to the coffee, and leather products or the animal products takes the largest export item in the country. The other thing that I want to talk to you about is the education structure in Ethiopia. By the way, we use our own language. We do have a language called Amharic. English is not our main language. Our language is called Amharic, and from grade 1 to grade 8, we learn with local language. As I was mentioning, the country is divided into 9 ethnic-based groups, and those groups do have their own language. And from grade 1 to 8, you learn with local language, whatever you have in the region. But the main official language of the country is called Amharic. And from grade 9 to 12, it's lower secondary school. From grade 1 to 8 is divided into 2, like the first, the basic cycle, and the secondary, or the general primary education from grade 5 to 8. And grade 9 to 10, we go through the lower secondary school for 2 years. And from grade 11 to grade 12, we go to upper secondary school, which is preparatory for college study. And you will, after completion of grade 12, we take national examination for college entrance, and the successful students will join university for a period of from 3 to 6 years, depending on the department that they joined. And in the school, we wear uniform like you guys. The uniform would be for this only, as you can guess. And the other things that I want to talk to you about is the holidays in Ethiopia. Holidays in Ethiopia are one of the important, or the center of every tradition. Holidays are practiced or celebrated in public. Like, as you can see from the left here, is a festivity of Meskel, which is the Christian celebration of the findings of the true cross. This is the Christian tradition, and we celebrate in public like this, wearing cultural clothes of, as you can see, white clothes like this one. And this is, Ethiopia is not only like the religion is of different kinds. There are Christians. In the Christian religion, there are different forms of Christianity. There are also Muslim peoples, but the dominant religion in the country is called Orthodox Christianity. And this is practiced by those, the Orthodox Christianity. And as you can see from here on the right, it's the Muslims. They celebrate their public holiday in public like this one. And we live like peacefully, like not any other countries. Like, if you go to Saudi Arabia, it would be dominated by the Muslims, or if you go to somewhere else, it would be dominated by Christianity or something else. But in our country, we do have a lot of friends who are Muslims, and we live like normal life as if we're of the same thing. And the other thing is, in Ethiopia, we eat together. And the dominant food in Ethiopia is called injera, which is a flat bread, as you can see from here. And it's a tradition to eat or to dine together. And the injera thing, here in Korea, we use chokarak, right? The chopstick and fork, knife, and things. But in our country, we use our own hand to dine. And the injera, the food, is kind of a flat bread, fluffy bread, and you use that to take the pinch of the stew. As you can see, the stew will be of different kind. If it can be a meat or vegan, there are different kinds of stew, but the main food would be the injera thing. You take a pinch of injera and you wrap it up like this one, and you take a bite of it. That's how we eat in Ethiopia. The food is kind of different. And this, the grain that we use to make injera is called teff, the most tiniest grain in the world. And it's only native to Ethiopia. You couldn't find teff or the injera in any other part of the world. It's only in Ethiopia. And the other unique thing about Ethiopia is called gursha. Like, as you can see here, feeding your loved ones. When you are dining together, like this one, we share a plate. And when we are dining together, to show our appreciation for someone, or a friend, or a guest to our place, we take a pinch of injera, and we take a stew, and we will feed that person. It's a sign of appreciation of that you like somebody else or a guest. The other thing is, in holidays are like this. We roast coffee like this. We gather together. We don't celebrate holidays alone. Maybe here in Korea, the thing is like, you know only your family, right? But in our country, for holidays, we make a lot of foods, a lot of drinks, and we invite neighbors like this. And it's one of the beautiful culture in our country, that to share things for not only for holidays. In normal days, we make coffee. Coffee is the center of everything in our everyday lives. This is how we make coffee. The coffee that you drink, we drink here is different, but in our country, we buy the raw coffee. We roast by ourselves. We grind that. That's the coffee ceremony takes that the whole bunch of things. Like you buy the coffee from the store, you roast it by yourself, you grind at your place, and you make a coffee with a pot that you have seen earlier. And we drink coffee like 3 times a day, in the morning, lunchtime, and dinner. And if you are making coffee at your family house, you will invite your neighbors, and you will have the coffee together. And you share things like if there is something new, that's one of form of discussion. Like if something is going on the neighborhood, that will be the time to discuss those things. And that's it. And the other thing that I want to talk to you about is mourning. Here, I don't think you guys have. If you lost your loved ones, if somebody of your family died, you go to some funeral site, you bury them, and you get back to your home, right? But in Ethiopia, it's kind of different. Everyone who knows you will attend the funeral ceremony. As you can see here, this is just a few people. There will be as much as 1,000 people just for the ceremony of the funeral. First, the people that you lost, the dead body would be taken to the church. There would be a prayer, and if somebody is a Muslim, that would be taken to a mosque, to their worship place, and there will be a prayer, and then it will be taken to the burial site. And after the ceremony at the funeral site is done, your family members and the people will be at your place. You won't be alone. Like, if you lost your family member here, you will be suffering alone, right? Because of the mourning. But in our country, the neighborhood around will join you for almost 14 days, so that you won't feel the grief and you won't suffer from losing your loved ones. This is also one of the beautiful things in Ethiopia. I think I finished my presentation. If you do have any questions, you may ask anything.